We also welcome to the programme former Manchester United coach David Moyes is with us. David, does it seem strange that, the league kicks off on Friday and you haven't got a team? You're sat here talking to us.
Yeah, I know I've been here before, once or twice before, missing the start of the season, but ultimately, hopefully I get back in shortly. I'm looking forward to having a bit of rest just now, but looking forward to also find out what my next job is, and hopefully it's not too far away.
Inevitably, you're linked with Manchester United, and it's interesting when you take a look at their transfer activity, not only this summer, but since you left the club. You look at Jose Mourinho, who's spent a lot of money, almost 350 million euros. Even going back to Louis van Gaal, he brought in 13 new players. You brought in Fellaini and Mata. Is there part of you that just is so frustrated looking back and thinking, well, you know, I could have done a lot better if you'd given me that sort of spending power?
No, I don't think that at all. I don't look back in any frustration. I look back knowing that we were in for big players, and it's well documented. You know, I wanted Gareth Bale, we wanted Cesc Fabregas at Manchester United at that time, and we didn't get them. And that does happen at times because one was at Barcelona, one was still at Tottenham, deciding whether to go to Real Madrid or not. But I do look at Manchester United from that period, and it was notable that they did need changes. They did need rebuilding. They needed not a completely new squad, because they were the champions when I took over. Alex had done a great job in making them champions. So there was a need for new players, and there was players coming to near the end of their time. But overall, it was always going to be a slower process. It could never be something which you went in there and changed with one sort of swoop right away.
Of course, an abundance of new players now at United, including Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
The boys are a little split as to how well he'll do at United. Stevie, for example, doesn't think that maybe he's got the mentality to fit at such a big club, under pressure every week. Where do you stand on him?
Well, I think in the past, the strikers Manchester United have not necessarily been of that type. I think there's been a different type of centre-forward. Strikers who link to play, strikers who were involved in the build-up. I don't know if Lukaku's there for that. I think Lukaku's there to get on the end of crosses. I think he's willing to run in behind Lukaku as well, which Manchester United will enjoy. They always like strikers who are willing to run in behind. And I do think that Lukaku's record, his stature, you might see Manchester United playing a little bit different. But if you go back through history, Manchester United always played with wingers, always had wide players, always crossed the ball in the box. And to be fair, I think if Lukaku gets enough service, I think he'll score enough goals.
Craig, you obviously followed him pre-season. You were there during the ICC tournament. What did you make of Lukaku in the early stages at United?
It's pre-season, so it's hard to judge. And also he's going into a new club, a big club. It was a little bit up and down. I thought the one instance, and David was talking about that there, was the Manchester derby where he run onto that ball in behind. The new goalkeeper, Ederson, came out and he nipped in beyond them and put it in from a tight angle. That's the kind of run that he will give United that they didn't have last year, for example, with Ibrahimovic, who can't do that. So he is a different facet. If you look at the Sheringham's and the Van Nistelrooys and the Coles and the players that they've had, the Solskjaers, he isn't that type of player. And it's a great opportunity for him, but it's one that he's either going to do it or he's going to die by it. It's as simple as that. And
he's under the microscope. You look at yesterday's game, which is a fine example, Stevie, in the fact, obviously, he got a goal, but he also missed that chance before that as well.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, all the players that we've spoken about earlier, they all needed one chance, and they took it. I'm not so sure Lukaku can do that. And Craig's talking about the goal where he runs in behind. Listen, how many teams that play, particularly in the Premier League against Manchester United, keep it tight and pack it in? So the opportunities for him to run in behind, which is one of his main attributes, he's not going to get the opportunity to do it.
David, of course, Lukaku, the big signing this summer. Pogba, the world record signing last year. Big pressure, isn't there, on the Frenchman now going into his second season at Old Trafford. Do you think he has what it takes to really become a world-class player this campaign?
I think he's a top player. I don't know if he's a player who completely makes a difference for Manchester United. I think that over the years, Manchester United have had people like Cantona, even Ryan Giggs, people who are special players. I don't know if Pogba's that. I think that he's a good player. I think he'll add to Manchester United what they've got. But will he make the difference? Is he someone who will score the goal at really important stages in games or make the key pass? I'm not sure about that. But I do think the machine that Manchester United are now, the size, the players they've got, you know, they've got a massive stature to their team. I think Pogba adds to that. And I do think he's a good player, but I'm not quite sure how much he'll make the difference in maybe key games.
Which is one of the things that I think Mourinho and Pogba himself last year was a little bit smarting from some of the criticism. Now, it's not his fault the transfer market's gone absolutely bananas and people are just paying huge money for everybody now. But that being said, he's still seen as somebody who should be making a difference. David mentioned some names. I mean, you look at the aura that Cantona had, you look at the job that Giggs and Keane did, and if I was to offer you now a young Paul Scholes or a young Paul Pogba, as he is now, I think most people would take Paul Scholes every day and all day. And I think that's the kind of level that Paul Pogba's going to have to start reaching to. Somebody that is playing for a club that he has to do it almost week in, week out. And he has to make that difference, both going forward and going back. He's got to chip in with goals. And he's going to be a match winner. And I think he's yet to prove over the longer period that he can do that in England.
Meanwhile, there is one picture that has gone viral from yesterday's game over the last 24 hours, and that is, of course, this one of Marion Fellaini getting the ball in the face. David, like it or not, you're kind of synonymous with Marion Fellaini, and it's interesting. Jose Mourinho saying yesterday that he's an important part of the squad. He's very much a polarising figure, but do you feel somewhat vindicated that both Van Gaal and, of course, Mourinho as well have used him extensively over the last few years?
Well, the bringing Marwan Fellaini was part of what I hoped that he would come to United and play in different games. He was never someone who was going to play in all the games at United. He was someone who was there. His size is a problem to the opposition. It's also something which helps you. Manchester United, you've seen many times now, I've used him in a more advanced role. I used to get criticism at Everton because we played him there. He's got brilliant chest control. Taking it in his chest is as good as any player in the world, actually, taking the ball down in his chest. And he's a good footballer. But he was never somebody who was going to come and play every single game. But as you rightly said, if you look now at the games that he played under Louis van Gaal or the games that Josie's playing him, he's vital. He's a modern-day footballer. He covers a lot of ground. He's a decent passer without being a great passer. He can get you some goals. He helps you out in both boxes with his stature. And he was something which we didn't have at Manchester United, and he was a player who was brought in to add to the squad.
Is he really a Manchester United player, though, Maris?
Well, I think, as David says, that Jose will probably use him, sporadically. I mean, you could see that the way that he plays with Fellaini, he just changed the game a little.
Would that be sporadically or sporadically?
Yes, sporadically, yeah. And he does change the face of the game. He did yesterday. Is a massive problem. The problem I have, if you start Fellaini, it's about the technical side. If you look at what Real Madrid did to him yesterday, they absolutely destroyed him in the middle of the park. So he's not the answer as far as that's concerned.
Look, if Man United want to get back to be the European champions and be in with the elite on a regular basis, then he's a squad player at best. I mean, there's no way around that. If you want to get to the top, he's not in that bracket, but he is somebody that can fill a void, and there's 4 competitions that are going to be happening for these clubs, and he's a squad player.
Look, Marion Fellaini is not a Manchester United player. I don't know how else to dress that up. I mean, when he comes in,
you need a squad.
You need a squad, and Fellaini's the type of player you put in when the opposition is just big and sat deep. But
so
again,
there is a use for him. That's what
there's a use for him, but it is not the type of use that you associate with Manchester United, who have played against those teams and have done it other ways in getting around the back, other than putting on somebody who's just big and lump it up to them. And that's my point. Yes, he has a role to play, but it's not the type of role that you associate with Manchester United. Other clubs, maybe, not Manchester United.
David, we saw from United yesterday the fact that the gulf is still big when it comes to United and the big clubs in Europe. Real Madrid outplayed them pretty much throughout the whole game. What should their ambitions be going into the start of the new season?
Well, having worked in Spain and get an idea of the Spanish football as well, and the Premier League, I believe the best teams are in Spain, and it's an easy thing to say, and obviously the results prove that as well. But the gulf between the British teams and the Spanish teams is big. The quality of players in Spain is terrific. I do think here in the English Premier League, I think we offer a great level of style of football and excitement, but the golf is still big, and I think that the teams in Spain, especially, I'm referring to the top 2 teams in Spain, you know, I think if they were in the Premier League, the both of them would certainly be 1 and 2 over here as well.